Good morning, students. Welcome back to online class. Today we are going to discuss the continuation of the transfer of heat. Last class we had discussed what is conduction and convection is needed. And now let us move on to the third heat transfer is radiation. Radiation is a method of heat transfer that does not require particles to carry the heat energy. In this method, heat is transferred in the form of waves from hot objects in all directions. Radiation can occur even in vacuum, whereas conduction and convection need matter to be present. So the conduction and the convections, we need the material or we need the medium, but the radiation, it does not need any medium. So the radiation consists of electromagnetic waves traveling at the speed of light. Already we know what is speed of light is needed. The speed of the light is 3 × 10⁸ meter per second only. So the radiation is taken as a flow of heat from the one place to the another by means of what? Electromagnetic waves only. This is only is called as what? Radiation. So the transfer of heat energy from the sun reaches us in the form of radiation only. So the sun only is taken as what? Is a source of heat energy is needed. So the natural source of heat energy. So the heat energy can be reaches us in the form of what? Radiation. Radiation is nothing but what? It moves in the electromagnetic waves format. So the radiation is emitted by all bodies above 0 Kelvin. Some objects absorb radiation and some other objects reflect them also. So what is radiation? The radiation is the flow of heat from one place to another by means of electromagnetic waves. This is only is called as what? Radiations. Now let us move on to what are the uses of radiation in daily life. First use, white or light colored clothes are good reflectors of heat. They keep us cool during the summer. That's why you're saying what? In the summer times don't wear the black dresses and the black color dress, because the black color, it absorbs the heat energy. That's why in the summer seasons we have to wear what kind of the dresses? A white or light colored clothes. Okay. And second one, base of cooking utensils is blackened because the black surface absorbs more heat from the surrounding. And third one, the surface of airplane is highly polished because it helps to reflect most of the heat radiations from the sun. That's why it's made up of like that. So these are the uses of what? Radiation in daily life. So next we have to move on to concept of temperature. So what is temperature? A temperature is the degree of hotness or the coldness of a body. So it is only is measured is needed. So the hotter the body, higher it is temperature, or the colder the body, what happens? Automatically the temperature falls, is neither falls down. So next we want to move on to what are the units of the temperature. So what is the SI unit of temperature? The SI unit of the temperature is Kelvin. This Kelvin scale is used. SI unit of temperature is what? Kelvin. It is denoted by the symbol is capital K. And for day-to-day applications, we are using two more units also, or two more scales also. One is taken as degree Celsius and another one is taken as a degree Fahrenheit scale. So the degree Celsius is used. So the temperature can be measured with the help of thermometer. So which device is used to measure the temperature? Thermometer. Which instrument or which device? Thermometer is used. So thermometer is used to measure the temperature. This is all already studied in the lower classes. Okay. Now let us move on to the temperature can be measured with the help of the three kinds of the scales. One is taken as a Fahrenheit scale, second one is the centigrade scale, and third one is taken as a Kelvin scale or absolute scale. Now let us move on to the Fahrenheit scale. In Fahrenheit scale, the readings are graduated 32 degree to 212 degree Fahrenheit. So the 32 degree Fahrenheit is called as the freezing point. 32 degree Fahrenheit is called as the freezing point, and 212 degree Fahrenheit is called as the boiling point. So what is the freezing point of the Fahrenheit scale? That is 32 degree Fahrenheit. In the boiling point, the temperature is taken as 212 degree Fahrenheit, and the interval has been divided into 180 parts. So what is the total parts in the Fahrenheit scale? 180 parts are there. Are you understand, children? And next we have to move on to the Celsius temperature. Celsius temperature scale. In Celsius scale is also called centigrade scale. It is denoted by the symbol what? Degree Celsius. Is needed. So it is, the readings are graduated in the Celsius scale also. 0 degree Celsius, this is called as the freezing point, and 100 degree Celsius, this is called as the boiling point of the substance is respectively. The interval has been divided into 100 parts. The interval has been divided into how many parts? 100 parts. So the formula to convert to the Fahrenheit scale to the Celsius scale, we could able to use the formula C is equal to 5/9 into F minus 32. Suppose to convert the Celsius scale to the Fahrenheit scale, we could able to use one more formula. F is equal to 9/5 C plus 32. This is it's convert Fahrenheit to the Celsius scale is needed. So sorry, this is convert the Celsius scale to the Fahrenheit scale. F is equal to 9/5 C plus 32. Suppose we have to convert the Fahrenheit scale to the Celsius scale. C is equal to 5/9 into F minus 32. Are you understand, children? So next we have to move on to the Kelvin scale, or in the absolute scale. So the Kelvin scale is known as the absolute scale. On this Kelvin scale, 0 Kelvin is represents absolute zero, the temperature at which the molecules of the substances have their lowest possible energy. This is only is called as what? Absolute scale. Okay. So next we have to move on to how to convert the Celsius scale to the Kelvin scale. So the Kelvin scale, it is denoted by the symbol is K. K is equal to C plus 273.15. This is taken as a convert Celsius to the Kelvin scale. Okay. So next we have to move on to absolute zero. The temperature at which the pressure and the volume of the gas theoretically reaches zero is called as what? Absolute zero. So it's a particular temperature, the pressure and the volume becomes zero. Theoretically we have to prove that what? P and V become zero. This temperature is called as the absolute zero. See the figure also. For all gases, the pressure explodes to zero at the temperature minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. So this is known as absolute zero, or it is taken as 0 Kelvin. Some baseline temperatures in the 3 temperature scales are, this is taken as what is shown in the tabular column also. Once you have to read it. Okay. So next we have to move on to the small problem. Convert the following. It's a 25 degrees Celsius to Kelvin and 200 Kelvin to degree Celsius. Already we know the formula is needed. So what is the formula? A Kelvin is equal to, or we have to take as the K is equal to C plus 273.15. Here the temperature value is given. That's why the Kelvin scale, it is denoted by the symbol T suffix K, that is Kelvin scale temperature, and this is taken as degree Celsius temperature. So we have to write a K is equal to, or we have to write K is equal to C plus 273.15, and after that you have to substitute the value. C is equal to 25. So 25 plus 273.15. So what will come? 298.15 Kelvin. Are you understand ma? K is equal to C plus 273.15. And next we have to find out the Kelvin to degree Celsius. So what is the formula here? The general formula K is equal to C plus 273.15 is needed. So C is equal to what will come? C is equal to K minus 273.15 is needed. So here the value is given. What is the value is Kelvin? 200. So 200 minus 273.15 is equal to what? Minus 73.15 degrees Celsius. If you know the formula, you could able to do the problems also. Okay, what is the formula? K is equal to C plus 273.15. Are you understand, children? Thank you.
We are going to learn the properties of salts. Properties of salts. Salts are usually solid in nature. They are usually solid in nature. They have high melting and boiling points. High melting point and boiling point. Solids are usually colorless, odorless, and they are salty in their taste. Salty in taste. Usually the salts are soluble in water. Soluble in water. For example, sodium chloride and potassium chloride are soluble in water, whereas silver chloride is insoluble in water. A salt may be powdery or crystalline form. Salt may be a crystalline solid or a powdery solid. It may be crystalline or powdery. So these are the properties of salts. A salt may be usually solid in nature. It has got high melting and boiling points. It is colorless, odorless, and it is salty in taste. Usually salts are soluble in water. Examples: sodium chloride and potassium chloride. These salts are soluble in water, whereas silver chloride, which is insoluble in water. Crystalline or powdery. The nature of salts may be crystalline or powdery. Okay. See, the next topic is water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. What do you mean by water of crystallization? Some salts, they have the ability to absorb water molecules, and they are said to be hygroscopic in nature. Hygroscopic in nature. It means that some salts, they have the capacity to absorb water molecules from the moisture without getting dissolved in the moisture. See, for example, copper sulfate. The salt copper sulfate is having water of crystallization. Copper sulfate, when it absorbs the water molecules from the moisture, it becomes copper sulfate pentahydrate. The name of this compound is copper sulfate pentahydrate. The water of crystallization is shown like this. See, this salt is there, a dot is kept, then the number of water molecules are written like this. Since here 5 water molecules are there, it is copper sulfate pentahydrate. Hydrate means water. Okay, children. Now, this salt, this pentahydrate salt of copper sulfate is sky blue color. It is blue in color. When this is heated, when this pentahydrate salt is heated, it results in the formation of anhydrous copper sulfate. It is anhydrous copper sulfate. Anhydrous copper sulfate. What do you mean by anhydrous? Anhydrous means absence of water. Absence of water. Here, on heating copper sulfate pentahydrate, the water molecules, the 5 water molecules are removed. As a result, the salt becomes anhydrous and it becomes colorless. The salt becomes colorless. This salt, this anhydrous copper sulfate on cooling, again it gets converted back to copper sulfate pentahydrate. Okay, children. Here the water of crystallization is 5. So this is called as water of crystallization. Salts, some salts, they have the capacity to absorb moisture from the air and form different kinds of hydrate salts. And that property of salts to absorb water from the atmosphere is called as hygroscopic property of those salts. Copper sulfate salt has got the ability to absorb water molecules from the atmosphere and become copper sulfate pentahydrate, which is sky blue in color, which when heated forms anhydrous copper sulfate and 5 water molecules. This anhydrous copper sulfate on cooling back, it forms copper sulfate pentahydrate. So this is a reversible reaction. Okay, children? Yes. So this is called as water of crystallization. We have got a tabular column which will help us understand this concept, water of crystallization, even better. See, this tabular column has got salt, then formula of anhydrous salt, formula of hydrated salt, then name of the hydrated salt. See, look at the first salt. It is zinc sulfate. What is the name of the first salt? It is zinc sulfate. Zinc sulfate. Zinc sulfate. The formula of the anhydrous salt is ZnSO4. Okay. Zinc sulfate. Formula of hydrated salt is also given as zinc sulfate 7H2O. So what is the name of this compound? Hydrated salt. It is zinc sulfate heptahydrate. Okay. Hepta stands for 7. Heptahydrate. See, the next salt is magnesium chloride. Next salt is magnesium chloride. This is the anhydrous salt MgCl2. The hydrated salt's formula is given. What is the hydrated salt's formula? Formula we have to write. The name is given. Magnesium chloride hexahydrate. So it is magnesium chloride. Hexa means 6 water molecules. Okay, hexa here, hexa. So 6. The next salt is iron 2 sulfate. It is iron 2 sulfate. It is having the hydrated salt's formula as FeSO4 7H2O. The name of the hydrated salt is iron 2 sulfate heptahydrate. So the anhydrous salt's formula is FeSO4. So this is the anhydrous iron 2 sulfate. The next compound is calcium chloride. The next compound is calcium chloride. The anhydrous salt of calcium chloride has got the formula CaCl2. The hydrated salt of calcium chloride is CaCl2 2H2O. Its name is, the hydrated salt's name is calcium chloride dihydrate. Calcium chloride dihydrate. Di for two water molecules. Okay. See, the next salt is sodium thiosulfate. Sodium thiosulfate. The anhydrous salt has got the formula Na2S2O3. The hydrated salt's name is sodium thiosulfate pentahydrate. Okay. Now we can write the formula of the hydrated salt. Hydrated salt. Penta, for penta means 5. So Na2S2O3 5H2O. So this is the formula for the hydrated salt of sodium thiosulfate. Okay, children.